Africa has a tendency to leapfrog. The continent leapfrogged past landlines to mobile, railroads to cars, and now bank accounts to cryptocurrency.
Let me tell you why I think it's important for you to invest in cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin in 2010 was literally about 15 Rand for one coin, and today it's standing over 400,000 Rand. Imagine if you had bought it then.
So cryptocurrencies are just one type of token that can be created in the blockchain. It was the first one because really Satoshi's creation was Bitcoin, the token. So it has the network, the Bitcoin network, and then it has the token, which is the Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is meant to be a cryptocurrency because the vision of Satoshi, which really everybody must read the white paper, the vision was to have one currency for the world that nobody could control.
So for somebody who's probably got some liquidity to spare, they'll probably store the value of your money in Bitcoin, right? I mean, take for instance, about a year ago, Bitcoin was less than $10,000. Today, Bitcoin is about $40,000, irrespective of the fact that it went up to past 60,000 and dropped. But compare that to African currencies, generally, the rate of depreciation, I mean, you can't store your money in an African currency as a store of value because there's high inflation rates.
Bitcoin and many of these tokens have been created to give financial inclusion and financial independence to people of the world. The only thing we need to do is educate people how to use it, because at least in South Africa, there's been many scams. And the scams come because people are so silly to trust a human to give them the money for them to invest on their behalf. The whole idea of Bitcoin and others is trust no one. Trust code, do it yourself, get your own wallet. The wallet, MetaMask, you download it for free. It's very simple to buy, sell, transfer. Start by practicing small amounts.
Now, you're saying it's a cheating system. Actually, the existing system in itself is a system that cheats you. Now, Bitcoin was invented in 2008, after 2008, after the global financial meltdown, whereby banks were giving mortgage facilities and making money off it on our backs, on the backs of people's deposits. So, techies, led by a faceless person called Satoshi Nakamoto, developed Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer system, thereby eliminating the banking and financial institutions and governments.
If you don't want to use cash, you have to use a bank account. And we know that the problem with banks is that you have the credit risk on a bank that the bank could go under. And in most emerging markets, there's no deposit insurance. So you now put in the money in a bank, you rely on the auditors, you rely on the central bank, on the regulators, and then the bank goes under. In South Africa, we had recently a bank called BBS Bank, where the management and the auditors were all colluding to commit fraud and to steal the money from the depositors. And then you start wondering, as a citizen of the world, why should I trust banks when I have seen time and time again, what happens when I put the money in a bank?
Take for instance, if you have, let's say, your US dollar in your hands, you have no control over the value of that dollar because the Federal Reserve could decide, okay, let's go print more dollars, thereby reducing the value, reducing the value of the dollar you're holding as to what it can buy in the market. Now, this is Bitcoin that is decentralized. There's nobody on earth who can increase the number of Bitcoin from the set number, which is like 21 billion, ever for life.
It's a whole new way to learn how to look after your own money because you become your own bank. And that's what we're trying to educate people, to go bankless, to become self-sufficient, not to depend on anybody, not to give your money to anybody, and to do things on your own. I pay you in Rand, and you receive the money in Naira. Do you know that in order for that transaction to take place, normally it doesn't go Rand Naira. It goes Rand, dollar, dollar, Naira. That means in between, I have these correspondent banks that have relationships with Nigeria and South Africa. And the intermediaries are big banks, JP Morgans, and etc., who hold accounts in Naira and Rand and act as intermediaries. In the process, they all charge a lot of money. And it's all SWIFT messages, very costly, time delays. So why should I have to go via an American bank to pay in Nigeria? That's nonsense.
Other people have sort of resorted to use cryptocurrencies on the blockchain because it is relatively cheaper and faster when you do that, and it's peer-to-peer. You don't need to go to a bank to have that done, right? And some apps have been developed on the blockchain to help simplify this and even make it compatible with mobile money. I mean, mobile money is becoming very widely used in Africa. In West Africa, for instance, it's something that is used a lot in Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, and a few other places. In East Africa, it comes in the form of M-Pesa in Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and all those places, right? So it's been adapted that there have been a lot of techies who are built on the blockchain to make it interoperable with mobile money, so that, or even with your bank account, so that you send the money and it appears on your mobile money if you're not too conversant to the blockchain or cryptocurrency, so it goes straight to your bank account.
So what's being created now is stablecoins that are going to be pegged either by, let's say, maybe the US dollar, or pegged by a basket of currencies in Africa. So in that way, by using a stablecoin between us, we are using the same coin. So it's like that vision that was put in by the African Union many years ago of having one currency for Africa, which of course it was going to fail, because look how problematic the euro has been for many reasons. And it's all to do with budget and financial market definitions in the different European countries, blah, blah, blah. We would have had the same challenges. But this is different. If you create a stable coin that is pegged, let's say, by the dollar is sitting in a bank account, you just create a stable coin that everybody can use, everybody trusts, and therefore sending money between one country and the other is like sending an email.
We've also had situations whereby intra-African trade has been a challenge due to the fact that you have to first convert to dollars and then send to the person, because we don't use a single currency on the African continent. As to why we don't, it's still strange to me, right? And there's a new after, is it the AFCT or something that is supposed to bring an internal financial system for cross-border payments. But I mean, I hope they do it on the blockchain because it makes it easier. So that's one aspect.
So in future, the speed of payments, the cost of payments, the cost of remittances, the cost of doing trade completely will come down, because you will be able to do what Satoshi wanted, which is peer-to-peer. And peer-to-peer could be you and I, or business to business, or governments to government. The main thing is to have one form of money that everybody trusts using the cryptocurrency type ecosystem. Bitcoin, or we believe Ethereum, it's the Internet of Value, and it's the one that has got all the securities to implement stable coins that are accepted by governments, by people in a region.
But beyond the finance aspects, you could run some aspect of governance on the blockchain. As to whether the political will is there in African countries for that to happen is another thing altogether. Because the blockchain is trustless, it is open ledger, right? So anybody at all can go on there and see the transactions that are happening.
Because imagine if every time the government collect taxes in real time in future, full disclosure to the citizens as to where the money goes. And then you will be able to know exactly how the money that you gave the government is being used. You can track procurement contracts in government exactly to know who approved them. The accounting is real time. Auditors will not come in a year's time. They will be part of the team that is getting the single version of the truth audited in real time.